when they buy a laptop, they get McAfee or Norton. And, what do you think of McAfee?
I think it's the equivalent of a chocolate lock on a sunny day in Barbados.
And why is that? Is it because it comes with your computer, doesn't it, almost?
I'll tell you why. If we rewind maybe 10, 15 years ago, they had, obviously, they were one of the first to market, and I dare say the same with Norton, and there's other well-known brands out there. I'm not just talking about those two. And they've just, kept on adding and adding and adding new modules on. The problem is they've fallen behind. Now, my new tagline is, you need AI to fix AI. So unless you have a security solution that looks at behavior instead of a database, most of the ones that we've mentioned already needs the internet to be up and running. So what does it do? An attack comes in. It checks the online database. Have I seen this before or not? No, I've never seen this. Oh, it must be safe. Let it in.
And
done.
The whole thing in cybersecurity is that people are trying new things
Absolutely.
all the time. So, I mean, the most recent one is that people are being, hacked with AI, where like voices are being copied with the banks. I've heard very recently.
Yeah. I need 6 seconds of your voice. I'll do it for you,
well,
and then I'll speak like Benjamin Vis.
That scares me. I don't know.
But here's the thing, right? If we look at 12 months ago, every 4 seconds there was one unknown threat hitting the planet. Do you know what it is today? Every second there's now 4 unknown threats hitting the planet. Do you see how it's gone up 400% in a matter of 12 months?
Yeah.
Do you know the amount of attacks and the sophistication of the attacks we're seeing? You've obviously heard of ChatGPT, right?
Of course.
Have you heard of WormGPT?
No.
So WormGPT was launched last January in Australia, and it's specifically designed to help hackers and scammers absolutely expedite the sophistication and the rate of attacks that they can now do on people. And now it brings me back to my point. You need to use an AI solution that can detect unknown threats. They also call them zero-day attacks.
Okay.
So you need a solution that can, and I'll give you an example, right?
Yeah.
We see this a lot. Normal antivirus solutions, for instance, you normally work between 9 and 5 on most days, maybe work on the odd Saturday. But now one morning on a bank holiday, August, Saturday morning, 2 a.m., your PC or Mac starts sending files out to North Korea or China or one of the other bad places.
I feel like I've heard
Okay.
of this.
Do you know what happens? Your antivirus solution would think that you're working late. Our solution would see that that's completely out of behavior, which means that's an attack.
Wow.
And that's how we stop the attack.
Let's be honest, when they try and do these things, because they try and do it when you're not paying attention. Because if you can address the problem, you can prevent it from happening. So what they're trying to do is get you out of your normal routine.
That's it. So if you leave your computer on, don't get me started about cameras on laptops. We've seen, I'll give you an example. There's a website called showdown.io, SHODAN.io, where you can go and set up a free account right now. You can log into people's gaming console, industrial control systems, CCTV systems. In some cases, you can even log onto people's laptops in their rooms and look at what they're doing.
So you're telling me,
and this is public knowledge,
you can log onto a website, and I can just go and see anyone in their bedroom.
You can hack into their systems, and it even gives you the username and the password. So what this company does, it scans the planet. They call it IoT, Internet of Things devices. And it finds all these unsecured devices and lists them publicly for free for people.
Why?
Because there's supply and demand. I think that's the answer. There's so much supply and demand, and that's how they make it so easy for people to hack into systems. But because why? And we haven't got there yet. Most people are using the same password still. If we rewind, say even 5 years ago, the average person had about 6 or 7 passwords.
Yeah.
Now the average person's got over 100 passwords.
Yeah, I know. Because I have to change mine every 30 days, and it gets very complicated to remember it all, doesn't it?
And so many of the large companies are getting hacked, okay? And they never tell their customers. So now imagine Amazon gets done, and you've got a password. And if you think you're just changing the last character, 2 exclamation, 3 exclamation, you think AI can't figure that out? You're just delusional, right?
Yeah.
So now what happens is they use bots again, and they'll use that Amazon password. So it's not your fault that you've used on your Amazon account or your Sky or Netflix or your Uber account. And they use a bot and they run it against every application to mankind. And that's how they get in, because you've used the same password or you've used a slight variation of the password. And this is so dangerous. It's like, would you use the same key for your car, for your mom's front door, for your office, for your flat? No, you wouldn't. Use different keys. So why are people using the same key for their online life? It's beyond me.
It is mad, but let's also take it back to the human level. How the hell can we remember all of these passwords? I don't think it's not possible.
But you don't have to.
So what's the solution?
Well, there's multiple, but our favorite one is obviously one of our solutions is a password. We call it password security, but it's a password manager.
Okay.
But it's an enterprise version.
Yeah.
Okay, which means that when you let me rewind a bit, because you will not believe that so many people are still storing their passwords in either Chrome, Edge, Safari.
Yeah.
Do you know how long it will take me to extract every single password from those browsers?
How long?
1 second. 1 second, right? Now here's the problem. So when we install a password manager for people, for our clients, we extract all those, remove them. So when it pops up save, I'll give you, and a lot of people, this even gets worse, okay? I have a bad reputation.
In what sense?
They say I scare people.
Oh, well.
But my new tagline is "Scaring is caring."
Scaring is, well, I think it's true.
Because the more I educate, if I show people what the problem is, it's like when you go to the doctor and you've got a problem with your heart, you want to know about it so you can fix it.
But let's also just take a moment. What is the result of not taking care? Can you give me a story of somebody that's come to you when it's too late?
I will, but let me just answer your question first, because it's the sidetrack, but it's part of the question, right? About what is a good password manager. So when we install a password manager for our clients, we extract all those unsafe passwords, put them in a secure vault.
Okay.
And then every morning when they log on to their PC, Mac or phone, they need to put in either Face ID, fingerprint, or a long password, which should be a sentence.
Okay, a sentence.
So you've got your username, which is normally an email address. You've got your sentence password to log into your password manager.
Yeah.
There's a third thing. You need a two-factor authentication code that you then use to verify that
through your mobile.
Because it's on your phone. You're using Microsoft Authenticator.
Yes.
I prefer that.
Yeah, which I have, yeah.
And then you log on securely. I mean, I'm paranoid.
Yeah.
I log out of my password manager every 4 hours. So every 4 hours, it's annoying. I've got to log back in. So multiple times a day.
Yeah.
And I've got the best security money can buy. But so once you've logged into the password manager, you'll never have to remember another password, because it comes up a little box at the top, it'll plug in on your browser, and you just have to, if you want to go to LinkedIn, you just have to remember how to spell. So you have to LINK, up comes LinkedIn, there's a little arrow, you click on the arrow and it takes you to LinkedIn. It puts in your username, your password, and your two-factor authentication code.
Oh, it does
every time.
Every time for you. Okay.
So it automates the process.
So actually can as well, instead of you having multi-factor authentication on all these applications, it can speed up the process.
Absolutely. Because people say, oh, it's a pain. I'm like, if you've got the right system in place, it's not a pain.
No.